Aloha, I'm Kauaʻi Miller. The Wilcox family has deep roots on the island of Kauaʻi. Part of that legacy is preserved right here at the Grove Farm Museum in Līhuʻe. Once a thriving sugarcane operation, now visitors can immerse themselves in the history of this homestead that dates back to the mid-1800s.
We get a huge response from the local community saying, I never know that Grove Farm was there, or, you know.
Or I seen it, but I didn't want to go because that was
we thought it was a private
someone's
property.
home. Yeah.
Today on Pauhana Years, we're going to visit the Grove Farm homestead that was once the site of the Grove Farm Plantation here on the Garden Isle of Kauaʻi.
The Wilcox family came to Hawaii as missionary teachers from Harwinton, Connecticut, Lucy and Abner Wilcox. They had 8 boys raised in the islands. The unique thing about the Wilcox family was that they did come as missionaries, but they didn't push so much the Christianity, is that they helped Hawaiians learn how to read and write in their own language. Grove Farm began as a grove of kukui trees, which is how it gets its name. Originally gifted from Princess Ruth to Judge Herman Wiedemann, who came from Germany, then had hired George Norton Wilcox as a manager who leased the property from him and was helping him to grow his sugar plantation. Then it became a very successful plantation, and today we are a nonprofit that share the history of Grove Farm. George himself never had children. His brother Sam and his wife Emma had 6 children. They are the reason why Grove Farm still exists today. Miss Mabel and her sister Miss Elsie, as we refer to them so lovingly. It was their hope and dream that this place would be preserved as it is, because the sugar plantation era is such a special part of Hawaii's history.
Our hostess is Miss Mabel Wilcox. Miss Mabel, how old is this home?
Well, it was standing here in 1854.
Miss Elsie and Miss Mabel worked in tandem to turn their home into a historic site museum. Back then, they looked at the collections that was in the house, and they knew that it shouldn't be just for a private viewing, but to be shared to the community. When you look at great people, when they're doing great deeds at that time, they don't know they're doing great things.
Well, I had taken a nurse's training at Johns Hopkins in Baltimore, and then I came back here and went into the public health work on the island, and I was in that for many, many years. And I guess I was instrumental in getting some of these hospitals done over and new hospitals built.
It's just that when you're doing the right things, your actions dictate what you look like in the future. But during that time, they knew what they needed to preserve was very important. It just shows you how forward-thinking you would have to be in order to do such things.
The house originally was a thatch roof building, 4 rooms, all connected by an outdoor lanai or veranda. It is a New England style, but when Sam and Emma Wilcox and their children began living in the home, George Norton then started building these other buildings. So we have George's cottage, where he would reside so that his brother and his nieces and nephews could live in the main home. The addition, the 2-story building, was added in 1914. The property itself is about 80 acres.
Then we had chickens and had our own eggs. The chickens just ran wild everywhere, and we had to hunt for the eggs. And And we had ducks, we had turkeys.
And then we also have our preserved Līhuʻe Valley that protects the view plane, seeing all the way out to Oahu sometimes.
Well, it was just a small sugar plantation. We never had a mill until fairly recently. And all the cane was found at the Līhuʻe mill.
Miss Mabel was the last living resident of Grove Farm Homestead. She passed away in 1978, and we opened our doors as a museum in October of 1980.
Well, this is Miss Mabel's Buick, the 1972 Buick. I used to drive her to Honolulu like that, to the beach house and stuff.
These are called the icebox cookies. When I started back here in 1972, I was told it was Miss Mabel's favorite.
So both Harold and Paula were fortunate enough to work with Miss Mabel.
Yeah, I started here in 1972, met Miss Mabel. She was asking me questions like if I know how to, if I do take care of yards and stuff. I said, yeah, because our family is all plantation workers, and my mom used to do laundry and housekeeping with the rich kind of people, and I used to do the windows and yard. She said, oh, okay. You know what? I think you'll be the first young blood we're going to hire. So I was happy on that time. So till to that day, I stay here yet. So that was 21, and now I'm 75. So.
Miss Mabel, this magnificent stove behind you, that must date back.
Yes, it's quite an old stove. I think we always had a wood stove of some kind.
The wood burning, wooden stove, I would start first thing in the morning because it takes an hour and a half to go ahead and have hot boiling piping water. And then that's how I start baking my cookies.
Miss Paula is very passionate about her job as well as the other employees. She's not also here as our conservator and our cookie maker and a storyteller. She's always here on the weekends just trying to make things just right to preserve the history. She's doing flower arrangements. She's doing multiple things because she believes in how this museum should be taken care of. So because she's connected to Miss Mabel, she kind of understands how important the history needs to be perpetuated and how accurate it has to be in order for us to do our jobs.
Working for Miss Mabel was a really amazing experience for me. The reason why for it is because she's very humble and very loving. So it's a lot of family history here. It's a lot of working here. It's more like a connection of a family.
The plantation story goes in hand with the Hawaiʻi story. When you kind of say it out loud, the plantation lifestyle sounds like a utopia, but no society is perfect. But what you look at in hindsight is that we have multicultural people coming together, as well as the native culture, as one people on one island, trying to go through the trials of life.
It's important for the younger generation to connect to their past. We need to know where we came from in order to move forward. I think that what we really want visitors to also take away is just a sense of connection to whether it is your own personal past or the Wilcoxes, because they were influential in so many ways on the island of Kauaʻi. And I think that you just get that sense of community here.
I was born here on the island of Kauaʻi, and I was born in the 70s. I know firsthand to live in the plantation. My father was actually working at Koloa Mill when he retired, and then I was brought up in the plantation community. And when I was offered this job, I kind of had an idea what it was, what I can do, but it turned into an actual passion where I believe I am here as a steward to preserve the plantation history that I grew up in and to share it with the community, the tourists as well as our young, to show them a time and place where we actually made things work, and we had to in order to survive. Now, if I can pass that along through this museum, which I believe we're trying to do, it just gives me that driving point to just keep going.
PBS Hawaii continues a tradition of storytelling thanks to your generosity. If you'd like to support our mission, please visit pbshawaii.org and click on the donate button. For Home Is Here, I'm Kauaʻi Miller. Ahui ho.